Hello, my name is Janusz. I come from Poland. I have a question for the beginning. How many of you here are from the public sector? Sorry, public sector. Public sector. So you want to do digital stuff in public sector, yes? Cool. So how I got here was a very strange situation. I was asked by accident to give a few thoughts on what we did in Poland to push our e-government initiatives. And at the end, it turned out that the most used word during that conversation was leadership. So this is for the few people sitting in the first row. It's mostly for you. I was in the Polish government for about 5 years. Half the time I spent as the digital minister. Second half, I was in Ministry of Health. So I did electronic prescriptions and EID. So what President Ilves was talking about, I did only like 15 years later, but you know, it's still good. So where are we, at least from my point of view? So actually, a lot of this inspiration for this slide came from a paper by President Ilves' son. That's true. As Lucas, a friend, he wrote a paper, co-authored a paper on the agentic state. Why is this important? Because if you want to do anything in tech, government or not government, AI is the word you should be following. And it really changes the way things look. Because everything that I wrote on the left was true even 5 years ago. I mean, governments lag behind the private sector in terms of digital experience. I mean, you will not be judged in government against, for instance, on roads. When you talk about roads, you will be judged in government against your predecessors, maybe some different government in a nearby country. No. In digital, you will be judged against the ChatGPTs, Facebooks, X, whatever else. The apps that you have billions of dollars in Silicon Valley being spent on. So you have to remember that. And this creates a vicious cycle because if the government lags behind, then it's super hard to attract the best talent. And I can tell you that even in Poland, we know that Romania is full of IT talent. We know products from Romania, we know very talented Romanian engineers. So the foundation you have. And I also talked with a colleague I met here, and what he said is people in Romania are super smart about doing things with scarce resources. So you have something which is super important in the public sector. But the problem is that you are facing a completely different reality, because what AI did was it gave almost everyone the possibility to complete super complex tasks in very short time. Quality, well, 6, 7, but it's always like that. I mean, maybe you only work with super talented and smart people, but like on average, we work with average people, so the results also average. Second thing, time to launch digital services. Well, you know, the benchmark, the metric, the target is 1 day. And this is what's going to happen. This is what's going to be possible because it will be super easy to actually do something very different from how we know implementing IT in public sector. You will actually be able to just prompt a policy. Maybe not now, but in a very, very short time, shorter than we expect. You will be able to give the agent the policy that it should be implementing. And this is like the hyper Pareto stuff. I mean, 90% of the tasks will be obsolete. You will not need to do almost anything to complete them. And this will free a huge amount of resources to focus on, first, developing all of this, and second, focusing on the complex tasks which the IT stuff can't do yet. And also, this is super important because I've heard a lot that, hey, IT is bad for civil servants because they're not IT professionals. But hey, the most important person is not the IT guy. maybe there's some IT people here, sorry. The most important person is the one who knows the product. And when you think of a person who has a vision, like how things should work on a big scale, well, that's like, in one word, that's politician, in theory. So this is why the agentic state can be a revolution. I strongly recommend you read the whole paper. And to guide this revolution, there's one thing you need. You need a leader. And you see all those guys. So you will be told in politics that there's a lot of things you can't do for various reasons. So when I was in government, I was telling all my people, so hey, we are the government. We are here to govern. We are here to make decisions. We are here to make things happen. And it is also possible for all of you. You just have to push really hard to do it. And all of these people who you see on the screen, they did not get to the slide and to their fortunes and their fame by following rules or doing things by the rules that they found when they came to their positions. They mostly got where they are because they said, hey, we're not doing it this way. We're doing this my way. And I mean, imagine someone like the people at Twitter when Elon Musk bought it. Like, imagine where are the people who said, hey, we can't do that. They're definitely not in the company anymore. And you sometimes make mistakes. You better make them less often, more often, yes. But you have to be willing to make mistakes. And true leadership in politics means this guy or woman above you who says, hey, you can make mistakes, and as far as I'll see that you made them with good intentions and you don't make too many, I will protect you from being fired. So this is why you need very strong leaders doing the digital transformation. And to do that, you don't hear those people talking about the buzzwords you hear on GovTech conferences. You don't hear them talking about interoperability. It's my favorite word. I hate it. I hate it. Never use it. Never do anything about interoperability. The only quote I found about interoperability was Zuckerberg in a letter to the shareholders, so that's for like Wall Street people, and Steve Jobs used interoperability when he was promoting his product. You know what product? The iPod, where he said, if you buy the music, it's going to be yours, and you'll be able to use it. So interoperability was his way to bash the heads of his competition to be able to push his idea for the product. So don't talk about interoperability, talk about the product and why the product is most important. So quick case study. War in Ukraine starts. Within 3 weeks, we launch the possibility for every Ukrainian citizen to obtain a digital ID in every local government office. Within 3 weeks. Maybe it doesn't speak very well about our counterintelligence, but no one told us, like, hey, you should prepare. Well, too bad. We still did it. And we made it possible for every person who came to Ukraine to use public healthcare, public social security, to pay taxes in Poland, and use all kinds of other government services. And why I got involved in this? Because the first idea was, hey, let's give them paper or plastic IDs. That would have taken so much time, it would cost so much money, but I knew that I want to launch the EID for Polish citizens. So I said, hey, let's try this with the Ukrainian people. I hope it's going to work. It did. And because of that, we issued 1 million IDs within 30 days, maintaining the issuing of normal plastic IDs for Poles in the same time. We did not add a lot of new resources. We just used what we had, and we proved to everyone that it can be very quick and it can solve a lot of problems. And why we did that is because from DIA PL, which is like DIA is the name of the Ukrainian government app, we made it possible to create the Polish government app. Hey, looks fairly similar. Huh? And the first attempt was my predecessor, who said, hey, Poles should have a digital ID. And if you don't think it's a good idea, well, you're stupid, because it's a great idea. How did that go? Well, not very well. And she was fired because she didn't deliver. She delivered a lot of presentations, she made a lot of slides, but she did not deliver the stuff. And the biggest disagreement was with the Ministry of Interior. And hey, who do you think benefited the most from the Ukrainian stuff? Who was in charge of the 2 million refugees that came into Poland in 2 weeks' time? And who was like completely not ready for this? Well, yeah, the Ministry of Interior. It came to a point where, at the end, the Ministry of Interior said, this Ukrainian stuff, that's our idea. Yeah, right. So this is why, in the end, we were able, so it's a short clip, when they're voting the EID legislation, this is Polish Parliament, a lot of people voting, and the end result is, come on. Almost everyone voted in favor. Only the pro-Russian voted against. True story. Maybe you have that. So what we made possible is because the product is good and the people like it, everyone voted for it. And we were also open to our very fierce political opponents. And for instance, they said, there's this guy who said, okay, we don't know you're doing that there, so why don't you open source the code? I said, okay, no problem. So this guy, he became Deputy Minister of Digital Affairs, and within 6 months of coming to office, he went to Parliament, and what he did, for security reasons, this code cannot be open sourced. Well, it's not open sourced. They were afraid of it because they knew that if they're going to open source it, they're going to have to do one thing a lot of people really dislike doing. They would have to work hard to make it good code, better than it is right now. Because if no one sees it, you can do, spaghetti code, whatever. Sometimes it breaks. Well, too bad. So this is why what I wanted to tell you is delivery is king. You have to have the best product. And you have to have it quick, and you have to have it in a way where you will be actually able to compete with the best. So this is the Polish App Store. I did this last week. mObywatel is the third most downloaded app in the productivity category. Third. Only, it's even better than Grok. And how we did this, first of all, we built a strong team in-house. Second of all, we did a whole thing around the quality and about the design and about how people, when we were designing the app, we told people, hey, so these are the mock-ups. You can go online, you can comment. You say, we don't like that, we like that, we want this, we want that. They even voted on the logo. And that gives you a community of believers. It's like those people that when you say, maybe Elon wasn't right this time, and you have 5,000 comments, no, he was. So you need to build this kind of community around what you're doing. And government as well. And because expectations towards government are so low, if you do anything right, you will instantly find a lot of people who will be like, hey, I'm super surprised, it's good, I'll support this. It really works. And also, it's good if it really works. So we have 500,000 ratings, and the average is 4.8 in the App Store, probably twice as much in the Google Store. Also, we did a survey. You can see the satisfaction results. And it shows that people really like the app because it was made for them and with them. And this is key if you want to deliver good solutions. And to be able to say that, hey, we were wrong, hey, let's do it a different way, this is like true leadership, where, of course, as a leader, you should not say that you were wrong too many times. But you should be able to say, that was my idea from the start. I was right all the time. And like, use what the people gave you. It really works. And what made possible for the people to actually, when we had on the launch date, so the whole system crashed on the first day. It was like, went totally underwater. And our political opponents started attacking us, saying, hey, you messed up again. And the most surprising thing happened. The people stood up and said, hey, but you guys never did anything like that. I will not use words. So this is why it's super important with the digital stuff to be a leader with the strong backing from the people. And the people are the users. We actually have more than 10 million mObywatels active right now. And it's one of the things which makes us very proud. And now the new government says, so the previous government was the worst government ever. That's like mine. But there's one good thing. This one. Really, they say that. So, key takeaways. What I have learned as the digital minister, as a politician, as a leader. First of all, AI component, I started with that. It's a must today. You have to introduce it. And also will probably make your solution better because you will be able to do things that required 50 clicks or 15 clicks by just, talking to your phone. That's how people use their phones today. You have to use it. You also should do what President Ilves was speaking about, that, hey, there's probably a lot of things that were already done in the AI area for you. Use them. But it doesn't mean that you should use like American stuff and not do Romanian stuff. No. But it's best to make the first steps using the proven technology and then find the Romanian way. Find the Romanian way. Invest in design. This is super important. Go on your government website and ask yourself one question. Is it pretty? No, it's not. That's bad because I mean, to rewrite the whole code, it's going to take a lot of time. Get some talented graphics person, like, I don't know, you had like campaign recently, all those people who are doing all those posts online, they're talented. Let them design your government portal. It costs a fraction of the code. And when it looks pretty, like in life with humans, if something looks pretty, you will be able to forgive it more things. If it doesn't work very well, but it's pretty. Launch quickly. And the thing you can launch the quickest is the design. You can do that very quickly. And then do the app. I mean, someone will tell you, oh, an app, that's going to be so complicated. Well, easiest way to do an app, is just make a simple app. The web thing behind the app is going to be the website you already have with some modifications, and just do an app which will be a browser, de facto, with the ID, and that's all. And you can say, hey, we launched a government app. It's great. Put all the apples in one basket. Do a super app. Do a super app because traffic generates more traffic. So in Poland, when we have, for instance, a big concert on the National Stadium, you know what crashes? The driver's registry. Because people, when they go to the concert, they open the app to show their ID. And then see, all those cool services I can check out if I don't have any tickets for speeding or whatever. So they start DDoSing the driver's registry, and it fails. And when the driver's registry fails, there's a concert or there's something else. Or they put an advertisement of the app on TV. That's when it happens. So instead of all the different apps, put them in one place, and you will get a lot of traffic from people that came in to try other stuff. Each ministry needs a CTO and, which is more important, a CEO. Like every government minister should know one thing. If you're going to do something in 2025, it's going to have an IT component. So you have to support the person who's responsible for this IT component, even if he's not very social, even if he thinks he's always right. You should always support him, because you won't get far without the tech. And last thing, this is the hardest, or one of the hardest. You will always hear the same thing, but we can't hire the people. It's in government, we can't pay them good salaries. Yes, of course. And then let's go to IBM, let's go to some other big corporation, and they give you a huge bill for whatever they do. But for that, every government has its money. No problem. So, move the money from one place to another if you don't have extra money to invest in digital. This is your role as leaders to make executive decisions like this. To say, hey, we will be able to take the political fallout for hiring talented Romanian engineers to do our e-government solutions. We did that in Poland, and when the government changed, they fired the people on top, but everyone else is still there, because they're not that stupid to fire the people who are doing a great job.
You know, our mission is not only to push digitalization for the sake of digitalization or to just have the latest technologies, but to look into how can I use technology to improve my life, my activities, maybe my daily activities as a citizen of Romania. If I look at myself, of course, I like all this new tech stuff, all this AIs and so on. But I also enjoy my moments when I can write something on a piece of paper, or maybe I hold a book in my hand. But in the same time, if I can have this infrastructure that offers me, the digital services that I need as a citizen and saves me time, costs, then I would be more than happy to have it so. So if I were a Polish citizen, and if you think my journey as a citizen, what is digitally possible for me at this moment in Poland?
Well, there's a lot of things that are possible. We have, I showed you the government, the EID app, but we also can file a tax return within 3 clicks, because your employer would submit your tax declarations to the Ministry of Finance, and the Ministry of Finance would actually generate the tax return for you. So you wouldn't have to write all the stuff yourself. When your child is born, you can register the child online. It was inspiring what President Ilves said, that in Estonia, the hospital does it for you. I think it's even better. So there's room for improvement. But what you said at the beginning is actually the most important thing. It's the product. You are here to deliver a product. No one cares about what's going on in the data center which is behind this. The people see the product, what's in the app, what they can do. And they will use that product just like for instance, in Poland, you have 30 million unique users every month on YouTube. Is YouTube mandatory in Poland? Not yet. But they still go and do it because it's super useful. That's where they get all the content. You have 25 million people on Facebook. Facebook is also not mandatory. People follow the product. There's this British saying, the proof of pudding is in the eating. And I strongly believe that this should be written on every CIO's door, or maybe even on the wall, so he'll look at it actually. Because this is something which is the most important thing. And luckily, for any government, you actually have the product defined, because you know what your government has to do. You know the services it has to provide. You have the legislative framework behind it. So, I mean, you know what you should do. You just have to start doing it and start delivering it to people. That's what I mentioned in the end, that when they use one product, one service, they will start using another, because this is what like online business is all about, to catch your attention. So this is the best way to catch your attention, that you go in the app because you want to do something, not because someone tells you to.
If I take this pragmatically, and I think my life, my journey as a citizen, what would be in your perspective, like the 3 basic activities that you would say I should start from, maybe do those better, and then go into another ones or build on that?
Okay, so 3 things that are necessary to build the whole ecosystem. Number 1, identification. But that's, in the end, fairly simple, because there are multiple institutions that will give you your identification details, and they are already here. Every state has, you have like IDs, so there's definitely database behind that. And interesting thing, in many countries which started digitizing in the 90s, you know what was the source of all the data? The Ministry of Finance, because they had all the data, because that's where the state's money came from, so they just couldn't afford to have it all on paper. So there are some countries that started from that. So identification. Okay. And also you can use private means of identification, like if a bank is willing to vouch for your, that you are you, that's good enough, because the bank is going to take a lot of care to be sure that you are you, actually. So this is identification. Second, means of transfer of information, like a secure way to send documents, to
data exchange.
Yeah, data exchange. Yeah. But also not only like formalized through an API, but also like for you to be able to sign a document with whatever and just send it to a government office or to a business or a contract, whatever. And third is payments. Okay. Payments are a part of many government services. And it's a very simple way to break the whole process if you don't have the payments. In Poland, we have Blik, which is a autonomous, like from the card providers, payment service. You give a generated 6-digit code. It works online. It works at a supermarket. And then you authorize it on the app, and the payment goes through.
Is this a private-public partnership?
It's actually a partnership of banks. Like half the banks in Poland are state-owned, but luckily the state did not interfere a lot in that, so it works, and it's cheap, and it's super popular, and 70% of online transactions in Poland go through Blik. They don't go through other solutions.
I have a follow-up question on this one. So, because I think everything you say, at least for us in the room now, sounds very good. But as you can imagine, there is also a little bit of skepticism. Yeah, maybe all these conspiracy theories about chips, or maybe the fact that we are not all science fiction readers, or maybe digital literacy rates. How did you think that in terms of the Polish story, what was the tipping point, from moving people from maybe skepticism to seeing the benefits and going towards adoption?
Yeah, well, I highly recommend the chip I have in my head. As I said, you should avoid forcing people into doing stuff. You just should have the best possible product. And it will give you unexpected returns. Why is that? I mean, who benefits the most, for instance, from being able to do stuff online? You'd probably, like, the people who actually do it a lot and that will probably adopt very quickly are like, hippies from Bucharest. Probably have some. But in fact, the people that benefit the most are the ones who live in the most remote parts of your country, because for them, it's not, taking the subway to downtown to the government office. No, for them it's, a huge trip. Maybe they don't have a car. Maybe the bus doesn't go very frequently. So maybe what for some people that are usually like very early adopters is, maybe an additional 1.5 hours, for them is a whole day. So if you give a good product to and you make it available to these people, it will fly very well. And actually, I worked for telecom, that's my first job. So it was a multinational telecom, and we actually saw that one of our most innovative solutions came from the African countries because they had to innovate.
Because they had no...
Because they had no alternative infrastructure. And people, and for instance, like, we were super surprised with how their reality looked like. But they were, for instance, they didn't text because they just didn't know how to do it. But they were using voice very, very early on. Like the voice messages. Right now, so many people use them through WhatsApp, whatever else. But they were doing that through the GSM network a long, long time ago. And it worked very well. And they were super happy with it. And maybe they even believed in some conspiracy theories, but they also knew that if you want to talk with your friend or your wife or your children, whatever, then it's the fastest, most convenient way to do it. Yeah. So if there's one thing your state should be, it should be convenient. It should be easy to use. And if it's going to be easy to use, people are just going to use it. Maybe 10% won't. Well, tough luck. I mean, Bill Gates, when he was designing our beloved Windows operating system, said, in terms of quality, hey, 80% will do. You probably noticed that as users, but it actually did. The Windows is on almost all the computers. Yeah.
Thank you very much for sharing this. I want to move also to the political side of the discussion, because, especially in our region, when we think of long-term priorities, it's not easy to get a consensus. It's like a consensus is more like a folklore. We all talk about it, but it's really hard to actually get it. How was that possible in Poland? Like, how did you actually make this part of digitalization more apolitical?
It was good. People liked it. When people like it, it's hard to attack it politically. Also, it's very good. I mean, we usually, in politics, we politicians, we make this great excuse, like say, we can't do strategic products, big projects that are going to last for 5 years. So like, imagine a guy goes into board meeting of any Silicon Valley company and says, okay, so we have this great digital project. It's budgeted for 5 years. And in 5 years, we're going to deliver this great thing. That'll be the end of his speech. I mean, governments should deliver quickly. And in digital, you're actually able to do it. I mean, it's not building a road or a tunnel or a port or whatever else. It's really a lot simpler than in other areas of government. And you should expect your digital leaders to actually perform in this way. If someone says, we're going to deliver the government app in 3 years, well, change your government. Really, I mean, it's super simple. This is actually possible to do. Everyone can do it. So you need executive leadership. For instance, my party leader, he's, I think, 75 years old. When I was appointed, I came to his office, said, okay, hello. Okay, so I'm not an expert in what you're doing, but it's important. If anyone causes you any problems, come by my office. I'll help you. End of meeting. And he did. He understood. He was a true leader. He didn't have to, write any lines of code. He didn't have to, he has this like feature phone he uses every day. Hey, but it works. And,
he had the will. He also empowered you to do so.
Yes, he empowered me. And like, when you look at him, people listened to what he was saying through that feature phone a lot. And yeah, so I mean, you should, especially in digital, you should expect a lot. It's a field that changes very quickly. And you'll always hear there are procedures, there are things you cannot do, it's hard to do. Well, yeah, that's life. You should be able to overcome those
Let's
obstacles.
deep dive a little bit on this one. Like, what was that governance model? What was the system in place at that time that allowed you to do this thing that I hear you keep repeating, delivering fast, delivering fast?
We just built it. It wasn't there. We changed the legislation. We onboarded a lot of people. We delivered a cool product, and people were like, hey, I can go to work at Google, whatever, and engineer people into looking at their screens for 5 more hours a day. Or I can work for my own government, which pays me not Google salary, but like fair salary, and work on an app which is on my dad's phone. And people said, well, yeah, I want to do the second thing because it just gives me a lot more satisfaction. And this is also super important. If you do cool stuff, cool people will want to hang around you. If you do bad stuff, well, that's not going to happen.
Yeah, I think we can do cool stuff. At least Romania has this, or we can pride ourselves with the fact that IT people are seen very well. We have a very good brand around that, and we can...
I'm 100% sure about that. I heard a lot about that.
Yeah.
And so I'm 100% sure that Romania has it's not UAE where anything advanced you want, you have to, pay some Romanian or Polish person to come and do. No. You have the talent here. You have people that work for the best companies in the world, and they're sitting in Bucharest and other cities. Yeah, so they're here.
I appreciate the optimism because I really think the future needs more optimists. We put a
They
lens.
really do. It's
Yeah.
not optimism. They really work from here. You know that.
If I were to put the lenses not only on the successes, but also maybe on the learnings that you have, because I don't think that any country alone...
What we did wrong?
Yeah, maybe you share us at least one thing that you would say, Poland didn't do good from the start on this, and maybe we as Romanians, we learn from it.
So we did many things wrong. We just tried to learn from them. Like what I said, on the launch date of the EID app, it just crashed. We didn't put enough resources. We didn't test extensively enough. And that was a total failure. I think also, I've been saying all these revolutionary things all the time, but like when I was in office, I was like 1/3 of the revolutionist I am on stage. So I should have been more, definitely. We should have done more things. And that's also one message I have for anyone who is in government right now. There will be a day when you'll quit, you'll be fired, whatever. And what you should focus on is to have as little regrets as possible on that day of the things you didn't do. You forgot, you didn't know, you weren't good enough. You should really think of that, because time in government flies like this. I don't remember like my 5 years, it seems like one day, like a blur. And so you should, and also, I think we did not get to the part where we invested enough in developing, in being able to bring things that Polish businesses make into our government stack. Okay. We did not do enough on that. I think maybe with more time, we could have, but we didn't.
Yeah, so more focus on this public-private partnerships locally.
Yeah, I mean, what we did, so before I came into office, we had those companies that had these like body leasing contracts. So I could get good engineers, but only through an intermediary who got like 30% margin on that. So we fired all those companies and we got the people on payroll, just moved the money from that place to the payroll. And the idea was that if we get good people, we will not only be able to do more and better stuff as us, but also we will be able to procure better. Because like standard situation in government's IT is someone who's paid, I don't know, 2,000 euros, signs off on a project that's worth 50 million euros from EU funds. And well, yeah, you know, it's never going to work that way. So we wanted to get like more people that are more qualified, more experienced. So the team behind mObywatel, we poached them from the second biggest bank in Poland, like the whole team. Product owner, designers, programmers, scrum masters, whole team. One guy came and we started, you know, picking the rest. And what was important was that the first guy that came told all his other people, hey, like, it's a lot better than the bank. It doesn't pay a lot more, but we do cooler stuff. People went for that.
Yeah, I really also believe in our mentality and our power as citizens to do that. If you think of Romanians, we also have to remember that we were not the first ones who got the internet. But then when we got it, we actually went directly optic fiber and top speeds. So I think we have this capability of leapfrogging. And I want to thank you for sharing this information with us. And I want to end with this thought that I think that the future of Romania cannot be separated from digitalization. I think it is part of the economic competitiveness. It is part of our resilience. And it should also be part of our collective imagination. If we don't imagine it, then it will be really hard to create it. And I think that if each of us here in the room, and I repeat this, if each of us here in the room does his part in this journey, I do think that together we can shape a better future for us. Thank you very much, Janusz, again, and thank you all for doing this.
Thank you.